Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever you're watching this, welcome to Economics with Mr. Sin. Today on the Mr. Sin channel, we're going to be looking at the three basic economic questions that every society has to answer. We'll also be going into a couple different types of goods and services. So sit back, relax, and let's figure out what the three basic economic questions are. Before we start, I just want to put out another reminder about the guided notes. You can find them in the description below. The guided notes go right along with this video, and they help you take notes on the important concepts that we'll go over. This way you can understand everything we talk about, and when you need to go take your test or quiz, you don't have to rewatch the video. You can just check your notes. So make sure to use those while watching this video. Now, enough of me talking about random things. Let's get into the three basic economic questions. The three basic economic questions are what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Every single society has to figure out how to answer these questions. They all do it in different ways, and there's no one correct answer. Each culture and society has a different idea of what these answers should be. So we'll be getting into how other countries answer them later on. Right now, we're just going to focus on these questions, starting off with our first one of what to produce. The society has to decide what they should produce. It's a pretty simple question, yet it's difficult. Should we as a country spend more money on social programs or the military? Should we be able to support more agriculture or industrial, or should we support the tech industry? What should we produce as a society? What do people want? What do they not want? All these different things are important questions for us to answer. And it comes down to two types of goods and services. Now, goods are things that can be used to produce something or maybe you buy. Now, there's a bunch of different goods that we'll get into in this class. Right now, we're just going to define a couple. And these will be important for you to understand right now. The first one is a capital good. Capital goods are goods that are used to produce things. They're used by businesses. So if I ran a store and I used an iPad to create my sales, my inventory, if I used it to email my customers and to set up the schedule, I'm using that to produce. It's a capital good. At the same time, an iPad could be a consumer good. Maybe I just want one and I go to the Apple store and purchase one for myself. That would be a consumer good. The other two types of goods that we'll get into right now are durable and non-durable, and the names kind of give it away. A durable good lasts longer than 3 years, while a non-durable good will last less than 3 years. So these are the different types of goods you'll have to know right now. Hopefully they make sense. The other thing that we'll get into is services. Services are another type of economic product. Now, this economic product can't be touched. It's intangible. They are tasks that are performed by people. Examples of this would be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, police officers. All these are different services that society needs. And so there is an economic output there and a production, but it's not a good that you can physically touch. So hopefully that makes sense for services and the types of goods. Now we're going to get more into our economic questions. So we just talked about goods and services, and we talked about what to produce. And the only reason why we have to figure out what to produce is because of the fundamental economic problem. If you don't remember what that is, check out my video. You can click the card in the top right corner to go see it. Now we're on to how to produce though. And how to produce may seem simple, but there's a lot of things that could go into it. Let's say I'm opening a business in an area that has high unemployment. Well, maybe it would be better for me to produce my product by human labor instead of automation. Because with high unemployment, there's a lot of people that need jobs. And it might be cheaper for me in the short run at least to use labor instead of machines. Or at the same time, maybe there's tax incentives. Or maybe that there is no unemployment and everyone's working. So if I'm going to open a store, it would be really expensive and hard for me to find labor. So automation would be better. All these questions go into figuring out how we should produce our product. At the same time, too, it depends on what we want our mission to be, if we want a certain perception, and all these things would factor into how to produce. The next economic question is for whom to produce. After we know what to produce and how to produce, you will have to figure out for who are you producing. Now, this is a hard question. All of these questions are hard, yet they seem so simple. Companies spend millions of dollars trying to figure these out. Think about it this way. If you're building a home, there's a lot you have to know. If you're trying to sell to people in the community, you want to make sure you know what's the average income there? What house can they afford? What features do they want? What colors do people like there? What size of yard do they want? All these questions need to be answered for you to create the perfect home for your target audience. even the age range, the demographics. All these things are important for you to understand who you're producing for. All these questions that we've gone over, what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, seem simple. Yet they're very, very difficult because scarcity is occurring and it's hard to know exactly what people think. So every society has to answer these questions. We'll get into different economic systems as countries and governments have decided ways to answer them for people. And at the same time too, we'll talk about how businesses have tried to answer them as well throughout our course. So make sure you remember these because these questions will be coming back up. Hopefully this video helped you better understand the 3 basic economic questions, different types of goods and services, and why we have to answer these questions, why they're so difficult. I'm Mr. Sin. Thank you for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, I will see you online.